One man, one mission, to rid the world of chronic anxiety once and for all. The Anxiety Guy, Dennis Simsek, shares his personal transformation from living a life filled with overwhelming worry to becoming a full-fledged positivity machine, a leading authority in generalized anxiety. Dennis gets to the truth of your mental health challenges and sets you on a path to transforming each and every area of your life. Here he is, the one and only, the Anxiety Guy.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode number 82 of the Anxiety Guy podcast. I'm Dennis Simsek. Thanks so much for being a part of this podcast episode. If you are enjoying this podcast, if it is adding value to your life, please rate and review this podcast. I would truly appreciate it. Now, today we're talking about the system. We're talking about how the system created and fuels your anxiety further. I have a lot of friends, a lot of family members that go through the system, brainwashed. Now, here's how it works. You're born. And after you're born, you gain guidance from your parents that gain guidance from their parents and so on. So we're talking limited information for most people. And we are born with that guidance. We are guided through that guidance and we become kids, 6, 7, 8 years old. The truth is that kids see 40,000 commercials each and every year, brainwashing, subconscious, all sorts of stuff in there that we don't want to store in our brains but are being stored. Then we go to school, okay? We're in our teens, we're in high school. Next thing you know, the teachers are teaching us stuff that we truly don't need to learn. Okay, it's for our careers, our jobs. Teachers say, what do you want to do when you grow up? Well, nobody ever says I want to be happy. Nobody ever says I want to be fulfilled. Nobody ever says I want to travel and gain experience and learn different cultures. No. What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a policeman. I want to be a firefighter. And we're programmed this way. And next thing you know, the anxiety and stress of becoming that begins. So then we get the job. We climb up the corporate ladder. We try to get better, get that raise, and so on. Then we get a mortgage and a nice car that goes with it. 40 years paying that mortgage off. Then we raise a family, we retire, and we die. Thanks for coming out. Most parents promote a lack of money, a ceiling to your fulfillment. Okay, my dad always said life is hard and making money is even harder. And the truth is that there's the opposite to this. There is not a lack in this world. Okay, there is not a lack in this world. There is an abundance of everything in this world. If you look at nature, okay, nature provides us everything that we need to support our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health. But we don't look to nature, do we? We look to the professionals because they're professionals. So I grew up with these types of brainwashing quotes and guidance from parents, teachers, friends, uncles, whatever it may be. And if you look at their own lives, you can see that they really did not get to a place of complete fulfillment. They weren't living out their passions. They weren't contributing to the world in a higher self kind of way themselves. So this guidance is coming from people who are not even accomplished. Everybody thinks accomplishment is something different. To me, accomplishment is becoming the best you can and contributing as much as you can to this planet. Coming to this planet and leaving the planet with something. You've left a legacy. Now, school needs to teach us usable lifestyle knowledge, such as dealing with pain, death of a loved one, how to deal with trauma, certain skill sets for mental and emotional health. They need to teach us these types of things, but they teach us stuff that we use in such small amounts later in life that it is so bewildering. Now, I'm not downsizing the importance of school. School is important. You need to find your passion. You need to do something in your life, but that something needs to fulfill you wholeheartedly. That something needs to meet your human needs in a positive way. You need to feel like you're growing. You need to feel like you're contributing. You need to feel like a significant person on this planet, but not from an egotistical mind's point of view, from a thinking mind's point of view, where you really feel significant because you've contributed. So I'm not a huge fan of school, to be honest, okay? We're moving to Bali, Indonesia. Next thing you know, I have people around me saying, oh my goodness, what's your kid gonna do? What school is he gonna go to? And the first thing I say to them is that education doesn't begin and end in a classroom. Education is coming from life, is coming from experience, is coming from seeing, viewing, hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting. That's the truth behind learning. And the workforce, when we talk about the workforce, we're talking about the entire system today, one by one. When we talk about the workforce needs to have systems in place that teach a person how to deal with certain mental and emotional challenges. Everybody hates their boss. I mean, okay, not everybody, but most people hate their boss. Nobody gets along with their boss. They want that connection, but the boss is so bloody stressed and anxious because he has to answer to the higher ups that it just promotes so much anxiety and so much stress. If you look at the workplace today, I could go to a restaurant and see the servers absolutely hating what they're doing. What are you doing right now? Well, I'm trying to pay off my tuition. How much do you owe? Well, a couple $100,000. Couple $100,000. Jesus. So we need to understand that when it comes to the workforce, okay, there needs to be certain systems in place that teach a person how to deal with challenges, how to deal with fear, how to deal with problems, practical problems, inner conflicts, these sorts of things. Because when this happens, what will happen to the worker? They're going to work much better. They're going to be much freer. They're going to be able to solve their problems. And that's what life is about. Life is about being incredibly good at problem solving. If you're not good at problem solving, then you're going to lose. You're going to lose. You're going to lose this game called life. The average high schooler has the same anxiety levels as a mental ward patient in the 1950s. What the heck are we talking about right now? We're talking about kids. We're talking about kids here between 13 and 18 or whatever it is. And they have these anxiety levels. I'm talking to some kids out there today and I'm asking them, well, how much homework do you have? They are swamped with homework. Swamped. Now, I'm not belittling homework, but if a kid already spends 6 to 7 hours a day at school, comes home and has to go through his or her homework for another 4 or 5 hours before going to sleep and do the same thing the next day, what kind of programming do you think that person is under? You got it. That's what unconsciously they start to attach themselves to. They have to work 9, 10, 11 hours to meet their need for certainty in their lives. So school is done, job is done, move up, start a business that, isn't really a business, but it's a job instead. I see so many people out there starting businesses, but are working on their businesses in a way where they never have free time. And freedom, as far as time goes, is the most important thing in today's world. It needs to be touched on. If there are principals out there right now listening to this, if there are high school teachers listening to this, we need to step up. We need to go through the school system and start over. We need to start from scratch. The curriculum is all messed up. Okay? All messed up. The whole system needs to be tweaked. With that said, most people are stuck thinking in a form of lack. They have a lack of choices. The system creates such a narrow view of life that there's no flexibility or choice. There's no flexibility or choice. You are programmed to be a certain way, to listen to your higher ups, and to do what they say. All your creativity and imagination goes right at the door. Remember that playful kid when you were super young who used to be so imaginative and so fun and happy? What happened to that person? What happened to that person within you? That person still resides within you. You just have to open your eyes. The way you open your eyes is become silent. Think about that for a second. I live in Vancouver, which is the third most expensive city to live in worldwide. $650,000 for a one-bedroom. And if I wasn't a passionate traveler who has seen and observed the flow of the world, I would think that this is normal. And I would bust my butt to get a mortgage, pay for it for the next 40 years at the expense of my life, I'm always shooting for something. Everybody out there is always shooting for something. What's the next thing to do? What's the next thing I need to get good at without getting back in touch with nature, getting back in touch with your higher self, and just being. We always live in the future. We always live in the past, but rarely do we ever stop and say, this is the present right now. Am I fulfilled? Am I excited? Do I wake up every single morning and ask myself, what am I excited about today? No. We wake up, we go through the same routines, the same habits every single day, and then we ask ourselves, why is life so unfulfilling? And the system doesn't promote elimination of anxiety, but it promotes coping with anxiety. You get all that anxiety, you fall in line with the system, you begin feeling the overload emotionally and mentally in your system because it can't handle any more stress. It can't handle any more anxiety. So you go, start taking antidepressants, numb yourself with benzos, do talk therapy for 12 years, and next thing you know, all you're programmed to do is cope and manage. Again, the system promotes coping and managing, and I completely disagree. You never realize your true potential because of the system. You never stop and say, what am I capable of? And then retirement comes around. Retirement begins at 65. And I have family members that shot for retirement and the golden years when in fact they never even made it there. Think about that for a second. The truth is that we are the change. We can be the voice of change. We can move away from a system that promotes low vibration and promotes fear and anxiety. Take a good look at your life right now. Ask yourself, do you have the things that truly fulfill you long term? Are you prioritizing your life properly? Are you growing as a person? Are you contributing as a person? Because if you're not, you will live a life continuously looking for something that fulfills you in the short term. That's not what we want. We want to question things. I want you to go back and question your belief systems. You believe something that is so untrue and that is creating your reality, which is based around fear and anxiety. Take a good look at it. Where did it come from? What fuels it? What can make it better? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself today. So my friends, take a good look at your life. If you're not happy with it, learn how to change it because you can. You have the resources. Do, say, think in line with your higher self. Your higher self is what the higher ups in the world do not want you to get in touch with because they want to keep you in the system, buying crap that you don't need, saying things you don't mean, thinking things you don't feel is right. We're much more than this. I love you so very much. You are more than anxiety. Don't forget to rate and review this podcast, my friends. Love you. See you in the next podcast.
Thanks for being an important part of the Anxiety Guy podcast community. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a positive rate and review. If you're searching for further support on your road to recovery from anxiety, head over to anxietyexit.com and take part in the powerful End the Anxiety program based around the CBT model. If you're searching for a more one-on-one approach, you can sign up now for personal coaching sessions with Dennis via Skype. Remember, you are more than anxiety. See you in the next episode.